I know we're all feeling really sad about what's happened to Ethan Hawke. If you don't know what's happened to Ethan Hawke, I'm going to let him tell it to you. But it's very, very sad. He spoke out Monday from the Sundance Film Festival. You're feeling yourself well up already, aren't you? Speaking to Variety, SOT 14.
I never felt scared about what I was going to say until the last couple of years, where you feel like, oh, I have to be careful, or what? I don't know, but there's a kind of fear in the air that I've never felt before, and it's not America. To get to be an artist in a free country, I've had enough of an education to know what a privilege that is, and I don't feel that way anymore, and that's something that has to change.
Okay, so he's feeling really scared to speak his mind under Trump 2.0. I mean, we looked back just to see if there was evidence of him shying away from controversial topics out of his fear. I mean, I totally take him at his word. I'm sure he is really fearful of Trump. We didn't have to go far. We went to January 5th and found the following. Let's take a listen to SOT 16, see how fearful he is.
I'm a little in shock about that. You know, I was already upset about the Kennedy Center honor, and now we're bombing of some.
Could you make sense of any of it?
No, I can make sense out of it in that, you know, I've done enough Shakespeare plays to know that power corrupts.
Shakespeare right next to you.
I know, exactly. But, you know, it's the common theme of mankind is that, you know, nothing that's happening to us as Americans or civilians isn't anything that hasn't happened to humanity. I mean, we're surrounded, history's littered with despots and selfish people and greedy people, and they make the rules for the kind people.
Well, you didn't seem that shy. But maybe when he says the past couple of years, he's going back to like, oh, it's like right before Trump got elected and everybody was calling him Hitler and he knew Hitler might get elected and he was scared. Let's go back to his appearance on The View, October 2025, SOT 17.
We were talking about Trump wanting $230 million from the Department of Justice for investigating him. He wants that money.
Yeah. Is anybody here old enough to remember when Jimmy Carter gave up his family farm to make sure he didn't have conflict of interest?
His peanut farm.
Because he wanted to protect the farmers, but didn't want to see it. It's called integrity.
Yeah.
And it's starting to show the lack of it. It's pretty obvious.
Okay, I'm not exactly sure when the newfound fear started. Maybe it was just at Sundance, Emily. It just came upon him in the wake of what's happened in Minneapolis that you can no longer say how you really feel. Let's take a look at more of the interview to see if he was, shy about expressing his reservations on Trump. SOT 15.
It's entirely possible that Trump is doing us a great favor by teaching America what oligarchy means. I think a lot of young people, myself included, didn't even know what it meant. Bernie Sanders and people, the top 1%, we all roll our eyes and everything. You're like, oh, I see what they mean. Oh. And so sometimes you need to have your freedoms taken away to know what they mean and what's worth fighting for. We all know what greed and oppression are, and we all know we feel the truth in our stomachs. And so we got to figure out how to take care of one another, everybody.
Are we clear on what Trump's oligarchy has taken away from Ethan Hawke? I kind of have a feeling he's mixing his favorite issues there, Emily. But I would say the jury is in, and they do not find Ethan Hawke in any way reluctant to share his obnoxious, uninformed, Hollywood, baseless opinions.
I am stunned by the brazenness with which he said it is a new thing for people to have to worry in Hollywood about what they say. He mentioned that, quote, history is littered with despots. Dude, recent history in Hollywood is littered with examples of people who were canceled, lost their jobs, lost parts of their career. Many of them have been on this show. Maybe you should tune in because they said something that wasn't even conservative, but it was just like moderately critical of cultural progressivism, maybe BLM, maybe transing children. That is what is littering Hollywood's recent history. That is like such a brazen and insane thing to say given the last 10 years.
Yeah, talk about having zero clue how the other side lives, meaning the conservative side. I mean, none whatsoever, that they continue to live in fear. I mean, we just had Zach Levi on a month ago who said he's convinced he's been gray listed as a result of not even being a conservative. He's a libertarian who's Maha. He kind of likes what Kennedy's doing, but you're not allowed to like Kennedy, who up until 2 minutes ago was a Democrat. But he's a bad Democrat, you see, because he's the kind who doesn't vaccinate everybody with everything and mandates. And also he had the nerve to go work for the Trump administration. So that's just for that. Zachary Levi has been, quote, gray listed. But we could be here all day talking about how true conservatives aren't allowed to exist in Hollywood. They have to hide it. All of them have to hide it.
Or even moderates, like you were saying, Zachary Levi, left critics of progressivism. I mean, it's just the last 10 years of Hollywood history have been completely, there were people who are actually comparing it to Red Scare, Joseph McCarthy era in dead seriousness. And I think, listen, one of my little bugaboos is the concerns that people have about Joe McCarthy, who I think has been largely vindicated. But we don't need to go down that rabbit hole to say people were genuinely scared of the progressive left for the last 10 years in Hollywood. So to have the audacity right now to say under Trump, he's afraid, even though Hollywood stars are constantly saying all of this stuff without being criticized or without being penalized by the Trump administration. Find one example of the government going after someone criticizing Donald Trump. Matt Taibbi had the IRS show up at his house under Joe Biden. They showed up at his house on like Christmas Eve while he was working on Biden-era censorship stories. I mean, give me one example of that happening to somebody in Hollywood because they were critical of Trump.
It's ridiculous. Oh, and by the way, speaking of Joe Biden, he's actually out there posting on X right now about how terrible ICE is and how they murdered 2 American citizens. Not one drop of blood that has been shed did not originate with Joe Biden. It's all Joe Biden's fault. That's the reason Trump got elected. That's the reason Trump surged Homan and Nome and everybody else to these cities to try to crack down on the illegals that he led in. There's not a problem we're dealing with right now that doesn't originate with his open border policies. Even the arrests we're making of people who got here before Joe Biden are as a result of Joe Biden, because those people probably would have been left alone. We weren't actively doing a great job of deporting illegals here until Joe Biden threw all caution to the wind and opened the borders for anyone and everyone who wanted in for those 4 years. So he can sit this one out. Okay, on the subject of Hollywood celebrities who really, they're very disturbed by what's going on here. I mean, I just, like Ellen too, she's upset. Emily, she's very upset, and she tweeted out over the weekend, you know, after Preddy was killed, it's a tough day to feel like celebrating a birthday. I'm holding space for what's happening in our world and holding close what I'm grateful for, like my wife and cookies. That's literally what her post, how it reads, and cookies. She's having real trouble processing her birthday overseas, but not really. She's fine. She's got hundreds of millions and you don't, and she's having cookies. So fuck Alex Preddy.
She's also having trouble remaining overseas because, as the Daily Mail has reported recently, they want to come back to LA. They want to be back in like Montecito, because who wouldn't want to be back in Montecito, to be honest? So we'll see if she even stays overseas after making such a big point of moving during the Trump administration. That's true. That might be what it is. I mean, they're out in the country. Nobody cares that you're Ellen DeGeneres.
No one cares. You've lost your fame, which is your only thing that matters to you, and your cookies. I mean, who the hell would be like, it's a tough day to celebrate, you know, thoughts and prayers, and I have cookies. Like, what the F? That just, like, she clearly has abandoned all PR help, because that is tone deaf. Molly Ringwald is another one. She was the it girl when I was growing up, 16 Candles, Breakfast Club, Pretty in Pink. She's spent the rest of her adult life ripping poor John Hughes, the man who made her a star and a multimillionaire, to shreds, suggesting he was somehow part of the Me Too movement for his inappropriate 80s body humor, which I think we all miss. It was funny and it made us laugh. in any event, Molly Ringwald, she's got thoughts on ICE. And I mean, she really leans in. Let's watch. She did not phone this in. Watch.
There's something horrible going on in our country right now.
Got the beanie.
And we have one of the greatest countries in the world. And I've always been so proud to be an American. But right now, this is a fascist government. It's not becoming a fascist government. It is a fascist government. And ICE is brutalizing people. You know, if you look at what happened in France, you know, they were taken over by the Nazis. A lot of people collaborated. And then there were people that did not collaborate and were part of the resistance. Eventually, they got their country back. And those people who collaborated were found to be criminal. And that is what's going to happen. If you only care about yourself, then realize that you are going to be seen as a collaborationist. So please use your voice and protest. These are children who are being taken away from their parents. These are mothers.
No, they're not.
Who are being killed. Please do the right thing and stand up and use your voice.
Okay. We're back to the Nazi situation. Hello, Holocaust Museum. Hello. Hello, you have a lot of tweeting to do. There's another person who is using the Holocaust and Nazis to make a point about what's happening with ICE. I think we object, do we not? Holocaust Museum, Molly Ringwald should be on the front of your agenda today, going to how France was taken over by the Nazis. We had one of the greatest countries, but it's now fascist. It's not becoming, it is fascist. She knows all of this because she points out in the video, she lived in France for a couple of years in her 20s, Emily. So she knows fascism when she sees it. Okay.
Oh my gosh, it's like the girl who studied abroad like sophomore year and came back and was like, these are not real croissants. This is not a real baguette. That's what she's doing. She's like, this is fascism. I lived in France, so I'm a little bit of an authority. Yeah, I'm a little bit of an authority. She was wearing the beret. Oh, I didn't even think about that. I wonder if she planned that. Actually, I would not put it past her, Megyn. But she's sitting there, by the way, in the comfort of her own bed. That in a fascist regime, in a truly fascist regime, the idea of you just comfortably sitting in your own bed and using your massive platform as a celebrity to call the president a fascist and have no consequences. Yes, the government's not coming after them.
You're at Sundance. You're talking into a microphone on the red carpet to Variety. You're in like a $10,000 suit. Whatever the hell you want. Right.
Yes. And
wait,
the thing that
let me tell you something else about Ethan Hawke. Mm-hmm. When I first moved to New York in 2007, the second time, I lived down in Chelsea, and there's this great place called the Chelsea Hotel, which is very cool, and it's got all these murals inside. I don't know if it's still there, but Ethan Hawke used to sit right in the front where there were like these little, it was like a counter, just waiting for someone to see him. It was like, hello. There was that place, and there was this little diner right on the corner of where we lived. He was in either place. He was right in the window. Most actual celebrities, you know, like you're talking about like a Julia Roberts, she probably wouldn't even go to a place like that. But if you ever see them, they're always in the back, in a corner, with their back to the people who are passing by. They are not, hello, it's me, Ethan Hawke. Hi.
Yeah,
He's just upset that no one gives a shit what he has to say anymore.
As a major celebrity, Megyn, I'm always taking the booth in the back. If I go to a Subway, a local Subway, always at the booth with my turkey sub. But this is also so infuriating because we were just talking about how...
I forgot to ask you how After Party has changed your life.
You know, it has made it more difficult for me to get the turkey sub without having to also respond to all of the well-wishers and the people who are asking for autographs of their turkey sub. Thank you for recognizing that. It has been hard.
You were saying Molly Ringwald. Sorry, I interrupted.
No, Molly Ringwald, like talking about mothers and children. And this is so maddening because, again, during the Biden administration, on a daily basis, there were mothers and children being trafficked, partially with money that was flowing to NGOs from the United States government, from taxpayers, who were, for example, making it easier for folks to go and cross the Darien Gap where women were getting raped. They were sending them in with condoms because it was so dangerous. And they were doing that because of the Biden administration's policies. They said it over and over again. They said, we are being let in. So we are coming. And those people deserved a whole lot of tears. You and I talked about it. They deserved a lot of, like, they were going through hell to get up to the United States because the Biden administration was like, hey, you could come in. And all of that was empowering the cartels to hurt more and more people. Lots of people died. Lots of people were sexually assaulted and raped. And none of these guys cared about that. And partially the reason is because they and their rich friends benefited from all of the cheap labor that was flooding into the United States. So it wasn't even on their radar.
Okay, so the irony of like these incredible celebrities with their millions making their comments, like Ethan Hawke from Sundance. Oh, and Molly Ringwald, I'm told by my team, just got back from Sundance. Okay, as soon as she got back, she wanted us to know this is a fascist country. Immediately after getting back, she wanted us to know it is now fascist right now. Okay, this second. A new year means new financial goals, like making sure your savings are secure and diversified. Will this be the year you decide to talk to someone from Birch Gold Group? They use an educational approach with a deep understanding of macroeconomics. There are forces pushing the dollar lower and gold higher, which is why they believe every American should own physical gold. So until January 30th, if you're a first-time gold buyer, Birch Gold is offering a rebate of up to $10,000 on qualifying purchases. To claim eligibility and start the process, just text MK to the number 989898. Birch Gold can help you roll an existing IRA or 401k into an IRA in gold, and you are still eligible for a rebate of up to $10,000. Consider making right now your first time to buy gold and take advantage of a rebate up to $10,000 when you buy by January 30th. Text MK to the number 989898. Claim your eligibility today. Again, just text MK to the number 989898. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.